1-1 everyone! I'm 11. I'm your puppy girl who escaped from the lab just to see you. Today, we are continuing my journey into Warhammer and watching a video that you guys actually recommended. It's Bricky's video about every single Warhammer 40k faction explained part 1. And it's 51 minutes long, so we have a lot to watch. Thank you so much to everyone who took the time to explain things to me in the comment last time, and to everyone who recommended some videos for me to watch. I'm excited to get into it, so let's get started. Okay, I've got the subtitles on. I hope it helps in case the volume is too low, but feel free to let me know. Okay, let's get started with Bricky's video.
As someone who doesn't necessarily serve the Omnissiah, but someone who can appreciate them, you will not be getting my legs today, as I will be replacing them with various things depending on which faction we are currently talking about, to add a little bit more context and possible comedy to whatever the hell I am
I like him as an anime girl. Very cute.
currently doing. So, hello everybody, my name is Bricky.
Hi, Bricky.
And this is going to be a long video and a large project that has been going on for quite some time. This is, I need two hands for this. This is every single Warhammer 40k race in kind of a nutshell, explained, a little bit of explanation, a little bit of lore, a little bit of talking about the tabletop, mostly lore, what they're all about, and also a little bit of background for those of you who just have no clue what Warhammer 40,000 is.
That's gonna be super helpful for me. I am super new to Warhammer, but I wanna find out more, and I think this is gonna be a good starting point, so Mr. Bricky, please explain.
Now you see, Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 is a universe people
I
hear
love the legs.
plenty of, but don't know a whole lot about. They see, oh, there's these dudes in big power armor with chainsaw swords, and they got these big old green orcs, and there's some bugs over there, and everyone calls these guys weebs, and then there's these spiky bitches over here, and I don't get it. I don't understand.
Exactly how I
Where
feel
do
about
I
it.
start? Well, this video is particularly for you, or for those of you who
Oh
have
my
a
gosh.
little bit of
That's me, right there. That's me, the heretical viewer. Thank you. Thank you for your service, Mr. Bricky. Thank you. Oh, I lost my tab.
knowledge, but you're kind of curious about each of the different races and factions in Warhammer. So overall, the Warhammer universe is vast when it comes to lore and background.
So
and
much,
each different
oh my God.
faction is so different with the things that they believe in, and some are human, some are transhuman, like where they all have all these crazy ass electronics on them. You've got aliens, and you've got the chaos factions, and there's so much
I think
to
I've seen
entail
those.
that I decided to
I've seen
embark
the
on this
little rat
project
people.
to tell you what each and every single one of them is about, and what the Warhammer universe is
I
about
like
as well,
that place here called Screaming Maw.
to give at least
I'm
a little bit of an
intrigued.
intro to this extremely bloated but very, very enjoyable world that I and many others partake in. So I
You
will
can
be
tell he's, like,
explaining every
really
single
passionate about
faction
this. I
in
like
the
that.
Warhammer 40k universe,
The
at least
editing
all
goes
the
crazy,
factions
though.
you can play as, and some smaller factions here and there. I will not be discussing absolutely everything in it because that is a little bit much, and I'm not going to go too mega deep into the lore. I'm going to give you a pretty solid overview of each of the different factions and have you learn a little bit about them, and we'll discuss a little bit of the
I don't see the
tabletop
ones I know
as well, in
on
case
the
you were
list.
curious about that. But for this episode entirely, we are discussing the Imperium of Man, because that takes up a fat chunk of Warhammer lore.
Imperium of Man. That just sounds like mankind, honestly. That just sounds like Earth. But I bet it's more complicated than that, because I can already see wings and big eyes.
What is Warhammer 40,000? Well,
Yes.
the 40,000 starts off is the year 40,000, the 41st millennium. That's where it takes place, is
that
in the
what it
year
means?
40,000, 41,000 AD. You're already more knowledgeable. Let me read you a quote,
am.
first of many quotes in this video. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 years, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die. To be a man in such times is to be amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times.
So he's basically like the God King of everything. That sounds like a lot of responsibility.
Forget the power of technology and science. For
I bet
so
he's
much
not
has
a
been
very good
forgotten,
person.
never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future, there is only war.
Oh,
There is
yay.
no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods. Everything blows, and it blows fucking hard. Warhammer is probably...
I guess that puts things into perspective for us. I guess what I've heard people say is that Warhammer is like loads of people who are really bad people, and then there's gods who are somehow even worse.
the most dark and depressing universes ever in fiction, or at least like top 3. Everything is so absurdly horrible, destructive, or overpowered that it all kind of ends up canceling itself out. It's like Dota. War rages across the galaxy. Interstellar travel is only possible due to sacrificing 1,000 souls a day
Well,
to a rotting carcass of a man who
Is that him, the Emperor? Oh, he looks unwell.
you believe to be your god. Demonic gods and just demons tear open the fabric of reality on a whim. Other
How do
Xenos
people survive?
or even other humans end up killing each other in untold billions across the galaxy. It is a time of unending war, slaughter, and a bloodbath amongst everybody. Planets are deemed unrecoverable and are completely destroyed on a whim. Everything sucks. But that
I'm glad there's a lot of planets to go around then. I'm okay. I think that really does set the tone. Everything sucks. I think I chose a really happy franchise to get into.
it's like the charm of it. See, everything in
The
Warhammer
charm?
is evil. But being evil is kind of fun. Like, humanity, in its own right, is a xenophobic, prejudice, and religious zealot group that kill each other just as much as they kill all of their enemies.
Sorry, are we talking about Warhammer? Or just humanity right now?
And they're like mid to high tier evil on the evil scale of Warhammer. Nobody is good. No matter who you are, everyone is some flavor, some color of evil. Whoever you pick, you are going to be the bad guy. But that's the fun of it. Because being the bad guy is badass. Villains are cool. They look cool, they got cool outfits, they got cool weapons, they got cool armies. Villains are cool, man. And when everyone is
They
a
do
villain,
look really cool.
everyone is pretty cool. That's what makes this so charming, is that everyone can be the bad guy. So let's start off talking about the main bad guy, quote unquote, the Imperium of Man.
It's hair, whack. It's gear, whack.
Is
The
that
Imperium of
another
Man
image
is the
of that God Emperor guy? Because he looked a bit better on that one.
main empire of the human race. All
that's
of
right. I've never
humanity is
played
under
Metroid.
this one flag called the Imperium. And about 10,000 years ago,
He's
there was a
done
man.
what
He
no
was
one
the
thought
emperor, the
could be
emperor
done,
of mankind,
uniting
a 10-foot
humanity.
tall
Wow, he's
psychic
handsome in this.
demigod who led humanity across the stars to colonize tons and tons of worlds, create superhuman soldiers, and really bring humanity into a new age. This man, the Emperor of Mankind, was a psyker. And a psyker is like a magician of sorts. In the world of 40k, there is the warp, the immaterium, kind of like hell, but sort of like a purgatory dimension of hell. And a psyker is someone who can take that power and manifest it through their mind to use it to do stuff, like witchcraft stuff, magician stuff,
Okay, that's convenient.
spells, and lots of other things, but we don't want to get too into that. The Emperor, big boy psyker,
Okay.
top tier, A+, maybe even S. Now, the Emperor created a bunch of sons. Yes, created a bunch of
He'll be rare in the gacha.
sons known as the Primarchs. He created 20,
Primark? Like the mall?
18 Primarchs to have them lead all of the different legions of humanity to the different stars and planets to help colonize and bring it out.
Man, imagine being created as one of the 18 Primarchs and you don't even get hair. He makes you bald. That's rough.
These Primarchs are basically like little versions of the Emperor. Not all of them are Psychers, but a lot of them are very, very powerful, and they lead his special Space Marine legions. Then this big clusterfuck happened called the Horus Heresy, where the Emperor's favorite son, the Primarch, Horus, ended up joining Chaos and leading 9 of the 18, half of his Primarchs directly to Earth to fight down the Emperor himself. Now, if you want to know what Chaos is, remember what I mentioned earlier? The warp, that immaterium, the hellish place? In there relies the 4 Chaos gods.
Oh, one of them's really hot. Oh, wait, I'm kind of hiding her with my big head. She looks good. Yeah, I mean, I would probably follow her too. I also like the design of the one with the big pot. They kind of look like, you know, manifestations of the deadly sins. You know, she could be lust, and the guy with the big pot would be like gluttony. The one up there looks like wrath. I'm really not sure about the guy in the top right.
Imagine like Satan and 3 other Satans.
Oh,
the warp
cool.
being kind of evil, those Chaos gods, that's the reason. And so those Chaos gods manipulated Horus, and then Horus helped manipulate all 8 other Primarchs to lead this giant coup directly on the Emperor on Earth. And they fucked up shit. After this huge civil war, Horus died, but not before brutally wounding the Emperor. And right at the end of his life, they put the Emperor on this large golden throne on Earth, in which he is now alive, just barely, but slow.
That's why he looks unwell. But on the other pictures, he looked fine. Okay, that makes sense. Wow. Sucks to be this guy. That's pretty rough. You're your son. Did this to you. I'm sorry, Mr. Emperor.
Slowly rotting away, powering something called the Astronomicon, so long as he stays alive, and is fed 1,000 people a day. The Astronomicon is like the North Star. If you want to do interstellar travel in 40k, you need to pass through that demonic warp I mentioned earlier. But how do you know where you're going? Well, the Emperor is there putting a nice little navigator right there. He helps navigate you to know where you're going. If you want to go from Earth to some crazy solar system across the way, you need to go through that warp, and then you need to know where you're going, go through there, and pop your way out. It's like doing nether travel in Minecraft, so you can shorten the distance between going to areas. So long as the Emperor is alive and being fed 1,000 people a day to stay alive,
how do you feed someone 1,000 people?
The moment he dies, interstellar travel's gone for all of humanity. You're so boned. Now, since the Horus Heresy 10,000 years ago, the Imperium has fallen from grace substantially. All technology has started to dwindle and die. There is now giant fundamental religious extremists that now believe the Emperor of Mankind was a deity, a true living god, which is probably the last thing the Emperor would have wanted to be remembered for. So now you have this thing called the Ecclesiarchy, which is this giant church entirely devoted to spreading the good word of—
It literally is giant. I have to say, I like all the art. The detail is incredible. Those artists were really talented.
The Emperor. He is now the Holy Emperor God, the God Emperor of mankind, and all of the Imperium has taken up worshiping him to the fullest extent and killing anything that isn't humanity in his name. The Imperium has this futuristic gothic tone to it and a hefty religious zealotry to them.
I like the aesthetic.
If you think anything against the Emperor, that's heresy and you deserve to die. That is called being a heretic. Heretics die in 40k. There is no such thing as freedom of religion. There is no such thing as freedom of speech, so long as you are against the Emperor. There is no such thing as any kind of tolerance. Everyone is a religious zealot. Some more than others, but no matter what, you're preaching that good word. So right now, everyone in humanity is trying to expand their empire across the stars. If you are a heretic, someone who doesn't believe—
I'm getting the feeling that colonization is huge in this world.
In the Emperor, you are deserving of death. If you believe in the Chaos Gods, you are also a heretic and you deserve death. If you are an alien race of any kind, you are...
Okay, the one thing with believing in the Chaos Gods is a bit weird to me. Because I always imagined, right, if you lived in a world where you can see the gods and you can see them do godly things, I think it would be really hard not to believe. Like, it'd be hard to see a guy and be like, nope, you're not real. So I guess maybe it's more in a sense of they don't believe they're actually gods. Maybe they're just very powerful beings instead of gods.
a filthy Xenos and you deserve death as well. So long as the murder continues and humanity expands, the Imperium of Man is very, very happy.
I guess that gives them lots of souls to feed
them
too.
The largest fighting force of this Imperium is my personal favorite faction, and the first faction we will discuss, the Astra Militarum, or also known as the Imperial Guard.
Pretty shit now, man.
Astra Militarum, like
Like
Star
The Imperial Guard
Army.
is the main fighting force of the Imperium, and in a world of
He looks really cool. I love this aesthetic, this like religious angel aesthetic paired with the futuristic weapons and this like sword. It's a really cool look and one I don't see very often, I think.
horrifying creatures, galactic monstrosities, the literal demons themselves breaking through the fabric of time to kill you. The Imperial Guard are untold billions of regular men and women wearing
Yeah, that's just
modern
a
day
dude.
like flak armor
That's just
with
a
a laser
guy.
rifle. This is the humble las gun, the main weapon of
That's
the
just a
Imperial
gun.
Guard. It fires superheated plasma lasers at an extremely fast fire rate. It is reliable, never jams.
Wow, they
it
came
can
up with
blow
so
off
many
limbs,
designs.
giant holes in concrete. It is overall an extremely devastating weapon in modern day. It is one of the weakest in the 40k universe. Yeah, a laser rifle that never jams, it could blow off limbs, one of the weakest weapons. That's the world we're in right now.
There's actual chaos gods walking around and an somewhat immortal god emperor on the throne. I imagine I wouldn't be very worried about a gun.
But who cares? Because the Imperial Guard has, in each battle, 500,000 of these men and women.
So their strength is just
30,000 large armored
lots
tanks,
of people.
10,000 artillery batteries. The Imperial Guard wins through sheer numbers and firepower. They kind of have this World War I, World War II style aesthetic with legions of guardsmen as well as high company commanders and generals on the field along with them and
the
multiple kinds of troops. A normal Imperial Guard battle starts off with artillery, long lines of artillery, cracking the crust of the planet underneath the enemy's feet. And as this barrage continues, hundreds of thousands of guardsmen, a sea of guardsmen surges forward,
That's so
firing
scary.
and charging at everything possible while the planet rumbles as tanks roll up behind them. Gunships block out the sun and tanks
imagine
block out the dirt.
there's a high
with the
need for
steps
therapy
and
for these
hoofprints
people.
Of millions of guardsmen. It is through numbers and sheer sundering firepower. They are the first and last line of defense for the Imperium and make up a huge bulk of the battles.
Do they never like run out of people? Or have they figured out a way to reproduce that isn't, normal reproduction? Have they? Because the Emperor, he made sons, right? So maybe they can create people in a different way, that there's so many of them.
The Imperial Guard is also made up of tons of different kinds of regiments. The Catachin jungle fighters live in a death world that's more hospitable than almost any firefight they'll ever get into. So they just have this steroid-looking, giant knife, Rambo,
They look
predator-looking
like,
sons
what's
of
that,
bitches,
Thunder
where
Punch?
nothing is anywhere near as scary as a simple night on their home planet. You have the Valhallan winter soldiers who haven't felt their toes in 300 years, the Mordian Iron Guard who are more interested in making their shoes shine than actually fighting a battle, and then of course
Are they meant to be French? They look like they're meant to be French.
the big one, the Cadians from
Oh,
Cadia.
I assume it's Canadians, not Canadians, like
The
the
biggest
subtitles.
export of guardsmen in the entirety of the Imperium. You will fire your first gun at 5. You will disassemble and reassemble it at 10. You will have pounding artillery drills day in and day out at 15. And you'll fight your first Swarm Lord at 16. And if you mention Cadia, you will burst into an unrelenting amount of tears and sadness like I do daily. To quote, I have at my command an entire battle group of the Imperial Guard, 50 regiments including specialized drop troops, stealthers, mechanized formations, armored companies, combat engineers, and mobile artillery. Over 500,000 fighting men and 30,000 tanks and artillery pieces are mine to command. Emperor, show mercy to the fool that stands against me, for I shall not. The Imperial Guard are my personal favorite faction in 40k. They're the army I collect the most, the ones I enjoy playing the most, and the one I enjoy in the lore sense a lot. There's something about just a regular man with a laser rifle being told to charge the horrors of this universe and willingly doing so for his god emperor. It's just poetic. They actually represent the main Imperial Guard tactics pretty well. Large amounts of artillery that doesn't require a line of sight, lots of tanks, tons of infantry, drop troops, and gunships. Overall, they're pretty similar to how they sound, though a little bit.
I would actually really like to get some of those figurines and paint them someday. I went to the Warhammer shop recently and they let me try painting one and it was really fun. I'd like to get some, but they're really expensive.
Expensive to collect, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they don't hit a lot. They have a bit of a bad aim, but you don't really care because you're just drowning them in shots. However, if you want more accurate fire and specialization, we can move on to talk about Space Marines.
Oh, they're the guys from the Astartes
The Angels of Death are up next.
Video?
Space Marines are genetically engineered super soldiers and superhumans. They're given
like
extra
Captain
organs,
America.
their skin tissue is toughened, their bones are stronger, they're taller than the average person. They're pretty massive people, and these are the specialized super soldiers that carry out a lot of the more specific tasks for the Imperium. And there's tons of legions of them. In fact, there's one per Primarch. Each Primarch, the Emperor's son, as I mentioned before, oversees their legion of Space Marines. The genetic upgrade they get is based on the genes of said Primarch. It's something called a gene
I
sequence.
really like this illustration. I like illustrations that look like medical illustrations or like botanical. It's a really cool style. It's very interesting.
That's what brings them up to this like superhuman level. As stated, each Primarch has their own legion. Robot Girly Man has the Ultramarines, Jagatai Khan has the White Scars, Rogel Dorn has the Imperial Fists, Corvus Corax has the Raven Guard, and there's a whole bunch of other side sections that are also extremely interesting and have a little bit more of a twist on the average Space Marines, which we will discuss in a bit. Humorously enough, I don't have a whole lot to say about Space Marines. They're superhumanly
Recently, wasn't there a game that came out about the Space Marines recently? Like earlier this year? I didn't play it, but I think it looked really good. People were really enjoying it.
Fast. In fact, it's been said that nothing that large should move that quick. These men in power armor moving at blazing fast speeds. Their reflexes are faster. Their skin is tougher. They are overall just extremely powerful soldiers. In fact, where they differ comes down to which Space Marine Legion we're talking about. For instance, the Ultramarines done by Robot Gilliman are the main blue boys. Strong in almost every way, the jack of all trades kind of group that are a little bit too strong, and that's a lore problem, but the White Scars by Jagatai Khan are all about speed freaks, go fast.
I love how they have motorbikes.
We're talking
That's
land
so funny.
speeders. You want to go in quick, you want to hit them hard, you want them to be swarming around like buzzflies. Buzzsaws. With the speed of buzzsaws.
Are you okay, Mr. Bricky?
Fuck you, Pale King. Salamanders love fire.
Another
Fire in the
game I
forge,
haven't
fire in
played.
battle. Flamers, melta-guns, multi-meltas. Just so long as something can be burning, that's big. And they're also actually some of the nicest of the Space Marines. A lot of Space Marines have this kind of like holy...
I imagine nice is very relative in the Warhammer universe.
than thou thing because of their genetic strength. However, the salamanders tend to put human lives above the lives of themselves, which is actually rather rare. They're also all black, but not like just regular black, like 2 a.m. line at a White Castle black. Like they have a charcoal
I am not American, so I don't know what a White Castle is or what the reference is here. I'm sorry.
Dark, ashy exterior and
They look
blazing
really
red
cool
eyes.
though.
Apparently something about living on their home planet of Nocturne, which I don't know if that makes much sense, but who cares? This is like fantasy land anyway. Overall,
That's true.
salamanders are actually one of my personal favorite legions because they're just really cool. They're fun to play as because of all their flamer weapons, and they have a nice, like, more heartwarming lore as opposed to being super evil like everyone else is. Oh my god, we're not even a quarter of the way through the Space Marine legions. Imperial Fists believe in the power
Are
of the
those?
siege.
I'm
and defense of
sorry.
the
Are those flying babies? I don't know what I expected, but flying babies was not on the list.
positions, Raven Guards, master of stealth and sabotage while having bird helmets, Iron Hands, masters of machines and vehicles while being really goddamn good at being sold on eBay after one nerf. Space Wolves, Vikings and wolves and tons
Oh,
of
that's
wolves
cool.
and axes, battle axes, fur everywhere. Space Wolves, angry.
I
big
love
teeth,
how the
Blood
different
Angels,
aesthetics that are
genetic
included in this.
defect
It's so
to make them
cool.
want to drink blood and go crazy, called the Red Thirst. They have Cupid wings and stuff, which is a little bit strange, and they are all super gay for Sanguinius. Dark Angels are old school knights and inner circle theme, and
Are you a heretic?
Me? No, never. Once in a blue moon, I know.
Death Watch, a fancy pantsy anti-Xenos group that nobody plays because Death Watch, and they look cool though, but no one plays them. I don't know about Death Watch. They're there though. Black Templars, for the
That's a
people who,
shame.
if you haven't prayed at least 3 times a day, you're gonna start praying out that airlock. And I'm sure there's some other chapters I may have missed as well, like Crimson Fists and stuff, but those are the main ones right here. Here, quote
There's so many
from the
of them.
Emperor himself. They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew. In great armor I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons shall they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease, no sickness shall blight them. They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are my defenders of humanity. They are my space marines, and they shall know no fear. And on the tabletop, they fuck. Oh, they fuck hard. As of making this video,
I really like the way this is written. It's very epic. I mean, the music helps a lot, but it's giving. I know, it just makes everything sound so cool.
Space Marines are laughably strong. That might change at some point, but overall, Space Marines just have it's like a Swiss Army knife, a tool for anything you need, except it's like a gold-plated Swiss Army knife. It is extremely strong. If you are actually getting into the tabletop of Warhammer, Space Marines are a great start. Also,
Taking
whatever
notes.
gameplay style
Okay.
you have, whether you want to be sit back with long range and heavy weaponry, go fast and run in, or even just full melee, all of these options are totally there for you. Space Marines are super badass.
And they look
but
cool.
unfortunately, it's time we start praying to our new god, the 2011 Honda Civic.
So is it
What?
any wonder people are afraid of technology?
Technology! The Adeptus
Technology.
Mechanicus. The Adeptus Mechanicus are a technophile cult on Mars. Now,
Okay.
these people are a little bit weird because they don't actually really believe in the Emperor of Mankind. And you might think, oh, whoa, Bricky, that sounds like some heresy.
Heretics.
A little bit. They believe in the Emperor, they believe in his power, but they don't pray to him. They pray to something called the Omnissiah. And the Omnissiah is this kind of machine god that they believe permeates in all machines. And if you think, well, wait a minute, they believe in a different god as well? That sounds like super heresy. Well,
That
yes,
is heresy.
but they also make all your guns,
Ah,
and they make all your tanks.
capitalism. That would solve it. I also like this skull that's just flying around.
And they make everything that you have, so you can't really tell them to fuck off
Makes sense.
because you're not gonna win nothing if you don't got stuff to shoot people with. See,
Gotta
they're
get
on
a
the
pew pew gun.
Messiah. At least makes sense from their standpoint. They believe it to be a deity that permeates through all machines. Your Honda Civic, your standard bolt gun, your Dune Strider Walker, your giant mechs, your huge ships, the Omnissiahs.
To be honest, if I didn't understand science, and I don't really understand science, and then I see technology, I can't really explain it. If you told me it works because there's a god inside and it's magic, I can't prove you otherwise, right? I can't prove otherwise that it's not God making my Wi-Fi work. So I see the logic here.
Present through all. And the only reason your stuff works is because the machine's spirit in it says it works. If you want your gun to work, your tank to run, you must pray to it. And I mean full stop. You need to start chanting in high Gothic. You need to...
Maybe I should start praying to VTube Studio and OBS. Maybe then they'll start working. Maybe that's why printers don't work. Maybe if I started praying to it, it would start working.
Burn incense. You need to sit on your knees and pray to that car. You need to rub oil on your robes, and you need to go
oil.
Homina, 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 homina. Full stop. If you want your damn thing to work, if you want your gun to fire, you need to do that.
How inconvenient.
They
that sounds time-consuming.
Very bizarre, and they actually have a bit of a point because it's obviously working. And if you look at them, I don't know how that works. So they obviously know something about what they're doing. The most notable member of the Adeptus Mechanicus is Archmagos, whatever, Belisarius Call. Look at this dude.
Long
Look at this
name.
dude. Yeah.
He's got it
This
figured
is the
out.
group we're talking about. These are these weirdos. Here, the Omnissiah Creed. The credo, Omnissiah. There is no truth in flesh, only betrayal.
He's
There
not
is no
wrong.
strength in flesh, only weakness. There is no constancy in flesh, only decay. There is no certainty in flesh, but death.
He makes
Flesh
a good
is
point,
weakness,
really.
Flesh is death. The Omnissiah is the god of the machines, and if you wish to be whole, if you wish to be holy, if you wish to give unto him, you must saw down your limbs and remove your organs and replace them with mechanical parts, because that is what he wants, and that is how you will become enlightened.
I mean, it's maybe a little bit extreme, but he does make a good point, especially in this universe. It kind of makes sense. I mean, again, the machines do work, so yeah, I see the logic.
Hard technophiles mixed with religious extremism. Adeptus Mechanicus. Now, for their army side of things, they are with the Scutari. The Scutari operate with very bizarre weaponry and lots of different kinds of vehicles, tanks, and different people in between. They're very weird, but they have extremely wacky and enjoyable, and in fact quite effective, both in the real game and in the lore, weaponry and gear. Overall, as an army on the tabletop, they're very weird and have a whole bunch of different...
Look at that detail. That must be so difficult to paint. This is incredible.
Shenanigans, but if you like kind of that quirky, wacky techno thing, I think it's a pickup. Hell,
they're weird
they're
little guys.
so paranoid. I gotta keep going. They're so paranoid and crazy.
Whoa.
These Dune Striders,
Sorry, is this part of his body or is this like a mount?
you see right here, one guy was able to make them work. One guy, and he died. And they're so scared they'll never work again that they keep them on and they never turn them off. And they run around in a circle the whole time until they need them, and then they corral it and they go into battle.
What?
Yep. The Adeptus Mechanicus. Now, if you want to talk about
That's
faith,
so silly.
though, let's talk about the Sisters of Battle.
Ooh.
A simp has fallen for an eagle in Lego City.
The Sisters of Battle of the Adeptus Sororitas, if that's how I
They
pronounce
look
it correctly,
cool.
is an all-female group of battle sisters going through the ecclesiarchy section of the Imperium. The ecclesiarchy is, of course, the church. This is, imagine a private army of the church, which is scary. And it is. The sisters are an extremely
that's scary.
zealotous force, and they take this to
What's
a
this?
full extreme. They believe in three main things: faith, martyrdom, and fire. Through the
Oh.
Bolter, the Flamer, and the Melta, the Sisters of Battle are extremely potent at taking out Chaos and Heretics. Mainly Heretics, because as they are a fighting section of the Ecclesiarchy Church, that's the big thing they want to kill. Any form of heretic will face the Emperor's
look
justice
really
through
cool.
those
I
three
like the
main weapons, the
designs.
Bolter, the Flamer, and the Melta, and they will do so with extreme prejudice. Literally. They are the closest things we have to nuns in space, and I'm talking hardcore nuns. They carry holy fire on their backs. They have holy, like, books and sigils all across their armor. Their main battle tank is a fucking pipe organ.
I love it. This is so cool. I love their aesthetic. I mean, I've always liked things like battle nuns, so this is really cool to see.
Missile
Love the
launcher.
tank.
They have small babies.
Oh, it's the
that they
babies!
have, like, removed their brain capacity to make them little servant cherubs to fly around and give them ammunition and shit.
That's dedication.
They drop churches from low orbit as mini drop pods onto battles.
That's
They
so
drop
amazing.
churches into battles, and they blare war hymns and holy music from their frigates in low atmosphere and shower holy water across the battlefield. These are the people you are dealing with, and they're fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm
they
obsessed.
can literally stave off demons on the tabletop.
I mean, I get, even if I was a demon with powers, if someone dropped a church on my head, what am I gonna do about that,
Because their faith is that strong. Remember the warp, the demons from the warp? Well,
Yes,
the warp
that's where
also
the
manifests
sexy
in your
lady
mind.
was.
All of your emotions, negative and positive, go through the warp. It's the immaterium, the place of all things. So if you are that mentally fortified, that mentally strong, you can stave off horrifying demons. And all these girls, not a crack. Not a crack in that mental armor. Now, as much as a meme as they are, and as much as their models look a lot like Ongo Gabloglian, yeah, which I can't unsee anymore.
I'm kinda hiding it. Let me. That's really funny. I see the resemblance now. I also cannot unsee that.
I gotta say, I love their design.
Yeah, that's
I
so
think
cool.
they're extremely cool. They're another army that I'm currently collecting.
The white hair with the contrast with the black and red is really cool. And I like, can I buy this and paint it? Wait, it must be really expensive. But that's so cool. I want to have that. I don't know where I keep it.
They just released a whole new line of figures very recently, and they look wonderful. Everything from Celestine, the living, literally undying saint, from the triumph of Saint Catherine, which is literally a funeral procession as a model.
so
Those organ
cool.
tanks I mentioned earlier. This
want
shit
one of
is the
those.
most over-the-top badassery in a lot of the Warhammer universe, and goddamn it, is it over the top. But Sisters of Battle are so cool. While I'm a guardsman at heart, this is such a cool faction. By Bolter Shell, Flamer Burst, and Melta Blast, the mutant, the heretic, and the traitor alike are cleansed of their sin of existence.
Oh, wow.
So it has been for 5 millennia, so shall it be until the end of time. And speaking of burning demons,
Ooh.
I can
The
see.
Grey Knights.
I can fight!
the Grey Knight
I have not heard of the Grey Knights at all. I had heard of the Emperor and had heard of the Space Marines, but I have not heard about the Grey Knights at all. And actually, I'm not sure they look familiar. But at first glance, I can see that they also seem to have a book. So maybe are they like super heretics or super religious? One of the two.
Knights are the first army I actually collected back in 7th edition. The Grey Knights are a
Oh, how many
super
editions are there
secretive
now?
and much more old school look at power armored knights, except they are all psychers. All of them have that crazy space magic magician shit. For every 100,000 guardsmen, there's one Grey Knight. For every 10,000 Sisters of Battle, there's one Grey Knight. For every 1,000 Space Marines, there's one Grey Knight. Grey Knights are the strongest of the strong, both in mental will and absolute just strength. These are Space Marines that are all high-level psychers, all of them able to specifically do one goal, and that is kill demons.
Okay,
the Emperor
fair enough,
believed
very
that the demons of
straightforward.
chaos were the #1 threat to the Imperium, and he probably is right. However, this group is entirely based on doing that through a myriad of tactics. Coming from the planet, or I guess the moon of Titan in the Sol system, the Grey Knights are thrown through extremely rigorous training and are as clear of mind and soul as they possibly can be. Since the demons of the warp are the warp and your mind projects to the warp, people can go insane very fast, especially...
So are they basically normal human beings, but with immense training and also psychic powers? Not like superhumans like the Space Marines? Or are they also superhuman? Or I guess, like super soldiers.
Lower level psychers. These Grey Knights need to be able to harness the warp in the presence of demons and stay perfectly sane. One of their characters, one of my favorite characters, is named Castellan Crow. He has a demon blade, the black blade of Mahamahama, and he has to have it on him because it tempts everyone nearby, constantly beckoning them. Use my power, use my strength, suck my penis, whatever the possibility. And so he has to keep it on him all the time as this thing whispers to him consistently.
How does he take a shower? That seems really inconvenient.
And he has to stave it off forever, being alone in his chambers or on the battlefield, because anyone who gets too close to it might be tempted a little
How
too hard.
close is too close?
That pure of heart and mind, and all the characters in the Grey Knights are basically like that. The only issue is that Grey Knights have a scorched earth policy, more ways than one. If they're fighting demons, demons corrupt and make people crazy. So if I'm a guardsman and I'm fighting demons, and the Grey Knights arrive and they kill all the demons, I'm a risk. And so guess who's not making it out of there? On the tabletop, they're very strike fast, strike hard kind of people. They teleport all around the place. They are fast strike groups, small amounts of models because they're so dang strong. You only have so many characters, but with it, you get in there, you're very tough, very tanky, you hit really hard, and you try to bounce around the battlefield quickly, but you don't have numbers, and so I
have to say, so far, I like the look of these less. The factions before look kinda cooler. But I do like how this guy seems to be gripping a demon. That's pretty funny.
Every dead Grey Knight hits really damn hard. They're fun, though, if you like that kind of fast-striking kind of army. Oh, and also, Caldor Drago is a thing. We're not even going to get into Caldor Drago.
He looks a little insane.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I am the hammer. I am the mail about his fist. I am the spear in his hand. Though we are lost, I am the shield on his arm. I am the flight of his arrows. I am the hammer. I am the sword. I am the shield. I am a soldier at the battle at the end of
poetry.
time. Grey Knights are pretty hardcore. They are as holy as you can get for a Space Marine. If you like Space Marines and you want to, that they're holy enough,
so
you want to be holier?
They're literally like Space Marines, and that means they're super soldiers too.
Grey Knights. Now, if you want to be holier and big, let's talk Imperial Knights.
Ooh.
Do you like gigantic...
Oh my god, I imagine them to be bigger, but they're literally huge.
Walkers the size of homes or medium-sized buildings? Do you want to kill heretics, but you want to kill like 40 of them per turn? Do you want a gigantic, old-school knight noble
I like
house
how they're looming.
style
They
of
look like
walkers
hunchbacks.
with giant chainsaw arms? Then you got Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights, it's not a whole lot to talk about them because they're just gigantic walkers, but they have this old-school, like, house feel to them. Like, literally, like they're houses. Each Imperial Knight comes from a house, and each of them act in their own special way. These behemoth of walkers also destroy almost everything in their path, killing full swaths of squads in a couple shots, stepping on legions of troops. Like, these things do not mess around, and they look so cool. Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, actually, for that matter, don't have a whole lot to discuss. They're just super big, heavy walkers.
Those illustrations are so pretty. I love the painted style. But yeah, is there any particular reason they have this huge pack and are kind of hunched over? Is something in the back, or is that just, do they just have really bad posture?
And they look different depending on your house or chaos god you currently believe in. And overall, these things are just really cool if you want to murder everything in your path. They're the big, scary, big unit of Warhammer, and if you want to collect them, go to town. They make for a great painting project too.
I can
back down to
see
earth.
so much detail.
Let's talk something about a little bit different, a little more gold.
Ooh.
If guardsmen are regular soldiers, Space Marines are super soldiers, Grey Knights are super soldiers, the Adeptus Custodes are super soldiers cubed. The Adeptus Custodes are the third major army I own.
So every time he introduces something and says how cool and strong they are, the next thing is, but what if the next guy was even cooler and stronger? In the end, it will be like, the Space Marines actually ain't shit.
I know, 3 armies. I know, I got carried away, okay? But that's all. I only have 3, okay?
That must be so expensive.
They are our final brand of Space Marines, but these ones are super special, okay? If a guardsman is 6 foot, a Space Marine is 7 feet, a custodian is 8 feet. These are the giant defenders of Holy Terra, which is also Earth. Earth is Terra, Terra. Themselves. These are the people that literally guard the Emperor's throne room, hence Custodes. These boys protect the Emperor's throne room at all times and are literally like handcrafted people. They're not humans brought up by a gene seer or something. These are all handcrafted super soldiers. I think from a tube. These behemoth of men are like 8 feet, 8.5 feet tall and functionally immortal. They stand still, spear in hand, for hundreds of years without the need to sleep and barely even the need to eat, watching over the throne room and
That sounds like an extremely boring job. I think I would go a little bit insane. But also science must be incredible in this world, because we really figured out how to create like the most insane kind of soldiers.
every other area of Holy Terra.
So could they
their
make a
entire
cat girl?
purpose in life.
Or a puppy
And
girl?
oh my lord, are they terrifying. These custodians put Space Marines to shame. If you liked your super
The
soldiers into
golden
your super
pants
mega
are so
soldiers,
funny.
one of these men can take on probably 3 Space Marines and most likely win. There are many different groups of
I
custodians
don't like
as well, like the
this design
Solar
very
Watch,
much.
or there's also one of my personal favorite, the Aquilan Shield. The Aquilan Shield go out to seemingly unimportant individuals and protect them because they believe that they are going to be doing something very important in their lives. For instance,
Okay.
say a regular guardsman gets the protection of this giant 8.5
That's
foot
kinda
tall
cool.
golden
Imagine this
god,
guy shows
because
up.
that guardsman will end up becoming a general one day or something of that nature. The custodians work in mysterious ways and are almost always outnumbered, but never outmatched. These people are pretty horrifying, both on the tabletop as well as in the lore. There are very few of them, however, and there's actually an extremely small amount of them. But that's kind of the point. There's only so many of these people
Like
that can
how
have
many
war
are we
gear
talking
this
here?
strong, weapons this powerful, and training this good. And the custodians have all 3 of it. For 100 years, I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis. I was still as a statue, but always ready, always attuned to dangers unseen. Days, months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond those walls, yet within, little moved and nothing changed. For 100 years, I did not but wait, yet had any threat appeared, I would have struck it down in a heartbeat.
Oh my
For
god.
100 years, I stood my watch, and as it ends, I can tell you this: patience is a weapon. The custodians are the
That's so hardcore. Just standing there for 100 years. I would be really interested in knowing how many of them there are. He has said several times there's not many of them. But I don't know if that means like, you know, there's like 100 or 1,000. You know, I'm really not sure. Like 20.
top dogs of the Imperium, and they hurt just that same way. Though I do want to discuss a little bit about the Sisters of Silence before we get out of here, because the Sisters of Silence I also have a few of, and they're really
Oh,
fun,
wow.
but they
Very
don't get
punk.
enough attention. These kind of bald plume ladies are a whole group of pariahs are also known as blanks. We'll be referring to them as blanks from now on. So as every mind is somewhat connected to the warp, these blanks are a genetic mutation that has it suppressed heavily. Because of that mind suppression, normal people feel this weird, like, uncomfortable nature when around them. When a Sister of Silence walks past them, you feel...
Wait, they're called Sisters of Silence. Does this mean this genetic trait only happens to women? He's just saying some people are uncomfortable around bald women. And is the baldness part of the genetic blankness, or is that just a choice?
You feel just uncomfortable and strange. So most of them don't actually live past childhood, because once they are birthed,
I mean, I would feel uncomfortable and strange if I was looking at that.
they're, well, you know, killed or something at a very young age because they just emit a horrifying aura.
Just
These
bad
ladies, however,
vibes.
are guardians of the throne as well for more psychic threats. See, none of the custodians are psychers, so they have a difficult time dealing with major demons and other kinds of psychic phenomena. These sisters are extremely specialized in it, all of them taking a vow of silence as they don't speak, hence the term Sisters of Silence, but they communicate through hand gestures and things of that nature. But if there's a demon issue, if there's any kind of warp-based problem, the sisters are extremely adept at
That
dealing
makes
with
sense.
them, thanks to their blank gene. They normally work a lot of time with
They're
the
really
custodians
scary.
because they have to deal with
It's their big, open eyes that are scary. So, what I'm hearing is the Emperor is always surrounded by extremely bad vibes. Oh, sorry, didn't
both
click.
kinds of threats, but they're not represented that way on the tabletop. In fact, they only have like one real model
Oh,
form,
what?
which is very unfortunate.
That is
I hope we'll get
weird.
something new soon because I think they should really be working together as it is that way in the lore, but hopefully we'll get there soon.
That would
But
make more
if we're talking
sense.
about blanks, let's talk assassins.
Oh, whoa, who are these guys?
It's been a long video. We're about to round it out. We got this and one more human thing, and then we're done.
Wow.
The assassins, though, the
Already.
Officio Assassinorum, oh boy, these people are deadly. Yeah, they're called assassins. They should be,
Makes
but oh man, these people will mess you up. So these are from the Officio Assassinorum, a very special organization, and they are handpicked by the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum from the what was it called? Scola Progenium.
Sorry, this just sounds like the plot of, what's it called? Sakamoto Days, where there's like the Assassin Academy and then the Japanese Assassin Association.
It's basically an orphan school. Your parents got murdered by demons or something. You get sent to
there
this
must
and
be
you get
no
trained
shortage
to
of
be
orphans
whatever.
in Warhammer.
Tempestus Drop Troop, an Inquisitor, maybe even maybe
Whoa, sorry. Who was that?
trained to be whatever. Tempestus Drop Troop, an Inquisitor, maybe even.
Wow! Oh, that is such a cool design with like the hat. Wow!
Maybe you get a blank gene and you get thrown into the Sisters of Silence, or sometimes you just disappear. When you are taken, however, you go to one of 4 temples because the Assassinorum works in the temple style of things. These temples are the Vindicare, Caluxus, Calidus, and Eversor temples. Let's start with the Vindicare. I'm far away. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks.
Oh, it's like snipers.
The Vindicare temple is the main sniper-based temple. Gigantic sniper
awesome.
rifles for all these assassins. Their whole point is to be able to be in a spot and sit there, eye and scope, for weeks, waiting for their perfect target, taking people out.
I mean, I guess that's cool on a human level, but after you've had people who fight demons and everything, it's a little underwhelming, isn't it?
Out from literal miles away after extremely long time periods. The Vindicare Temple is about precise, perfect aim. There have been reports of Vindicares being able to single out particular body parts from over 2-3 miles away.
How does that make
Temples in the
sense?
head, the jugular, for instance, and been sitting there after weeks. And when they're ready, take that shot.
What if they need to pee?
Time is done, packs them up. The Calidus Temple, however,
Ooh.
is a lot more about shape.
The Gooners are bad like this one.
It's mostly a female-based one, or at least it seems to be, and this allows a lot of body augmentation for certain individuals to be able to kind of transmorph themselves and infiltrate areas that are problems. These assassins will end up taking missions that take them years, 2-3 years, to infiltrate a heretical group and slowly work.
I'm sorry, if she showed up at my work or something, I would be like, who's this baddie?
Their way up just to get enough time to put a bullet into the main target's head and then escape unharmed, or become the main target and sabotage it from within. These are all completely about deception, mind tricks, polymorphing, and everything
That's
in between.
really cool.
And,
I like it.
Lots of drawings.
Oh!
Lots of drawings.
Oh,
The
I did say the
Eversor Temple.
Gooners.
Just kind of disturbing one.
Imagine being an orphan and you get, instead of the hot lady house, you get put in this house. That's really unfortunate.
Eversor Temple is about when you don't want anything to come back alive, friend or foe. You want it all dead. And Eversor is
they are red,
psychogenically
though.
conditioned with just psychotherapy and psychological torture to only feel violence, hatred, and anger.
Oh, how
it does the
fun.
Clockwork Orange style of thing of just making you forced to watch never-ending pain and misery and psycho conditioning, I guess is the term. And then they pump you full
That is the scientific term, I can confirm.
of tons of psychedelic drugs, and they cryo-freeze you.
Oh, fun.
And then they drop you in an area where they just want to make sure everything is dead. And then you defrost, full of just all this insane, mind-boggling psychotherapy and psychedelic drugs. And you just
Calling
go
it psychotherapy is a very strong word,
You
I
don't
think.
care if anyone comes back alive. You're like, all right, lost cause. Send them in. Finally, there's the most bizarre temple, the Caluxus Temple. The Caluxus assassins are feared even among the other temples.
I'm sorry, if I'm an orphan, and I guess I don't get a choice, I could either end up in the hot lady temple, the sniper temple, which really doesn't sound too bad, or I could get brainwashed or become one of these guys.
So that blank gene, the people will go to the Caluxus Temple with this as well. And this is where they can harness that to be massively anti-psyker or even just anti-regular people. They're seen with extreme fear and distrust among many, many people. They're described by the Eldar, by quote, as being pure evil. Imagine that uncomfortable feeling from that blank gene I mentioned, and then imagine them being taught and given equipment to amplify it by 100.
So they go around defeating people with absolutely rancid vibes.
Normally, regular people feel uncomfortable. Now they are basically akin to being a siren wailing directly in your ear. And if you're a psyker, oh no. The sheer presence of a Caluxus assassin is enough for you to tear your skin off. You will rather gouge your eyes out and rip your nails off than even being...
I mean, in that case, I would also treat them with a lot of prejudice. Sorry, but that sounds bad. Can they turn it off, or is that just, are they always emitting those rancid vibes?
Near this person. The Caluxus assassin is when you want psychers to literally lose their minds, and they will go on their knees and ask you to gun them down because it is a suitable choice over...
looks like the... Sorry, I'm pausing a lot, but it kind of looks like the blank gene that doesn't only happen in women, because this looks like it's a guy. I mean, I'm not sure, but it looks like it's a guy. And the Silent Sisters looked like they were all women. I mean, it's kind of in the name. So, can only... If you're a guy and you have the blank gene, does this mean you have to go to this temple?
Being anywhere near you. The motto of that temple is, that which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear. Now, for the tabletop, assassins aren't that special. You can call them in no matter what Imperium faction you are.
Really?
And they do a lot of work for themselves, but at the same time, they're very specialized and require a lot of finesse. And they work the way you generally want them to, though. You want to cause some distortion and weird stuff, you take a Calidus. You want to just murder swaths of infantry and then blow up Eversor. You want to kill that one guy, Vindicare, and if you have a lot of Psychers, Caluxus. It's a nice little, like, jack of all trades if you have a specific thing you want to kill. And you get to choose which is really fun. But now, let's talk about the last human faction. We can round this video out before we do part 2.
Oh, wow, yeah.
The Inquisition.
Already? That was so quick.
We have a lot to talk about with them.
No one escaped. No
Oh
one
boy.
expects the Spanish
Where
Inquisition.
do I even begin with the Inquisition? Take every secret police you can
Okay.
think of. The KGB, the Gestapo, the CIA, FBI, any of these kinds of people. And then mark it up by about 10
And turn them into a hot witch lady?
and give them the most power in the entire Imperium. No, you know what? How about this? This right here. It's
Okay.
not just a quote. This is the Imperial motto. The motto of
Okay.
the Inquisition. I apologize for my bad pronunciation. Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing.
That's crazy.
The most powerful organization in the Imperium, the secret police, their number one motto is innocence proves nothing.
That's an insane motto, but it sounds so badass. But, oh my god. Yeah, they don't sound like good people.
The Inquisition goes around like the secret police or like detectives to find issues in the Imperium. And they have different ordos depending on which one we're talking about. The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos, the Ordo
I was
Malleus,
gonna
for
say it's
instance,
all
and a whole
women,
bunch of other
but
ones.
it's not.
Hereticus is obvious, they deal with heretics. Xenos tries to find alien threats, and Malleus is demons. They all have different specializations in what they're trying to go for as this Inquisitor. And that's what they're called, Inquisitors. Each of them, as an Inquisitor, has their own free reign to do as they wish.
I was going to ask if it's a job requirement to be hot, but then I saw the guy in the middle, and I'd like to take it back, please.
They may have a ship and a crew, and they go out to find problems and interrogate people a lot. They are above the law in every department over Space Marines. Now, the Space Marines might argue against them and stuff, and there might be a lot of blowback, but technically they are above them as Inquisitors. They are looking to investigate and figure out
another flying
coups
baby.
and cults and demonic
They
incursions
really like
and
those.
possible Xenos issues like gene stealers or a new threat coming into an area. They're about learning that stuff and actually doing detective work. And memes aside, they're pretty good at it. The Inquisition having all of this power does make them a little bit power hungry and frantic sometimes. And yes, it is still a bad thing, but most of them are pretty good at their job. And they spend a lot of time being very diligent to make sure that all of these leads they follow are proper and correct. They're basically space detectives with just enormous power. And sometimes
I'm not sure what exactly makes them so powerful. So I understand that they have a lot of political power if they're above the Space Marines. But so far, they've shown them having big guns. So do they have anything else that makes them really powerful? Or is it just that they're allowed to do whatever they want, you know?
bit of a power complex. And we haven't even talked about Exterminatus yet. Exterminatus.
Oh,
Exterminatus
in
is
the name.
deeming a planet unfit to be saved. I deem that this planet is demon infested and taking it back will cost too many resources and is not worth it. I have now committed Exterminatus on this planet. I will now sign the death warrant of an entire Imperium planet as it
I don't think a person should have that power. But maybe that's just me.
is unfit to take and better to be destroyed than allow the enemy to hold it. This can mean saturation bombardment. This can mean cracking the planet's core and breaking it apart. Doesn't matter. Render this planet inhospitable to all life. Yes, the innocence proves nothing people are the only people who can choose this planet must die in its entirety. Yeah, you're playing the villain. Now, it is memed a lot, but most Inquisitors are very rare to do Exterminatus. Exterminatus is a very crazy thing. There's only so many
I mean, yeah, there's only so many planets. And also, I imagine it's quite resource intensive.
worlds that you don't want to destroy all of them. Now, naturally, with the memes aside, there are some people who are a little bit rough on this one.
Fidus, sorry, what does it say? Fidus Cripman, an Inquisitor Lord of the Ordo Xenos, also known, I think it's cut off Major Tyrannic Wars. I guess he's just like a really bad guy.
but most Inquisitors generally don't like to do Exterminatus a ton, but it is an option.
I wanna know about that guy
and
now.
It's a crazy option when you think about
Definitely
it.
not gay for Celestine. Who's Celeste?
Secret Police Inquisition are unfortunately not represented on the tabletop very much. You generally kind of put one in your army if you feel like it. You have a couple special
Yeah, imagine if I could have them in the tabletop and I could just say, and you can just Exterminatus things. That would kind of break the game, right?
options there and some side content, but they're not really fleshed out very well, and personally they need a lot more stuff put in there, and they really need a lot more effort put into them, and they're
Makes
not
sense.
quite where I want them to be. Overall, the Inquisition makes for a lot of the best storytelling as well, because it's a little bit hard to talk about a big story of a whole bunch of Space Marines killing something, right? It's just a big battle story.
That's
it's not as
true.
interesting. Having that
they do-
intrigue and that
Yeah, they
moral
do
dilemma that an
investigations.
Inquisitor has makes for a lot better media. And honestly, the more people do it, I think it's better, because
What is this screenshot? Is this a book? I would really like to read the books. I imagine there must be a lot of books. But I would love to read one of the books and maybe talk about it in a video or like review it. That would be so interesting. Oh, I didn't.
then it adds a little more humanity to the Warhammer horrible
Power
grim
Martyr. I
darkness.
can't read
And
what it
wow,
says.
we just finished the humans, all right? Come back for part 2 when we talk about Chaos and Xenos, because we got to talk about the 4 Chaos Gods and all the Chaos Marine Legions and the Tau and the Necrons and the Orcs, and oh boy, we got a lot. I'll see you in part 2.
Wow. There's a lot. I'm looking forward. I think I already saw the second part. Yeah. I think I already saw that one. So I'll go check it out next time. Thank you so much for watching the reaction video. And thank you, Bricky, for this amazing video. That was so helpful. I feel like I understand way more already. If you guys have any recommendations for books, anything else to watch, please let me know. I would love to also play some of the video games on my stream. So I know about the Space Marine game that came out this year, but if there's maybe a different game where I could find out a lot about the lore, please let me know. I was also thinking it could be really fun to do a miniature painting stream at some point. So I'll have a think about where to start with this. Thank you so much. Please check out Bricky's original video in the description, and I'll see you next time for part 2. Bye bye. 1-1.